to welcome Ms. Nicole Thompson, who is going to be presenting to us this afternoon, Taking It to New Levels with Google Classroom. Ms. Thompson, over to you.
Thank you, Ms. Stewart. Good afternoon, everyone. Am I being heard clearly? Is all is well?
Yes, you're being heard very clearly.
And is my screen up?
Screen is up.
Okay. So good afternoon, everyone. So today we're working, this is package 5, and we will be looking at the G Suite, some of the apps or the available tech in G Suite. Now I noticed that there are so many of us here who already have registered to do this package, and it is probably because G Suite and Google has so much to offer. So as Ms. Stewart said, I'm going to try my best to answer all the questions as we go along. But with 850, and we're actually expecting full capacity today, we're expecting 1,000 people in the room. We have to have some rules that we are going by. So please forgive me if we seem a little bit stringent. All right, so a little housekeeping. If you'd like to follow along, my suggestion to you while we go through how to set up your classroom and what to do, my suggestion to you is while we're doing the housekeeping on a new tab on your laptop, sign into your Google account if you have a Google account. So you'll be ready to go once we start going. So you can listen and do that at the same time. As Ms. Judd said, all participants are muted, but you can put questions in the chat, and at specific intervals, we will take those questions. All right. All right. So the first thing I want to talk about, because I know this may be a question that you're having, it's about these packages or these trainings that are being done for JTC. Now, JTC will be giving certification for these packages, for these courses. And there are actually 2 types of certification that will be available. So I just wanted to let you know what you have available so you can prepare yourself from the beginning. So the first package that they have is a certification of competence. And for you to be awarded a certificate of competence, these are the things that you will have to ensure that you cover. 80% attendance, engage in the session. There's going to be an online assessment of 40 multiple choice questions. There's also going to be a group lesson plan, and you also have to submit a session evaluation form. Now that evaluation form will be given to you for submission on Friday, not today, okay? And then the second certificate would be just a certificate of participation. And that certificate, you'll need 8% attendance, be engaged in the session, and submit this session's evaluation form. Because there are some people who are not, who are just looking for knowledge and not so much certification in terms of competence. So this is what will be available. So keep this in mind once we go through the course. All right, the next thing we want to talk about, I quickly want to say, let's see how we're doing. On a scale of 1 to 10, let me see if I can get my chat. Oh, that's usually a problem for me. Forgive me,
I'm seeing some 8s and 9s, Ms. Thompson.
8s and 9s, okay, 8s and 9s.
But we have a couple of 5s there. Oh, a 10.
10, very good, very good. So we're on the better half. All right, so the next question is, in one word, what contributes to that number? So if you're a 10, what is it that's making today a 10? And if you're a 1, what is it that's making today only a 1? So that's another question. Put it in the chat. And while you do that, I'm going to see if I can get my chat up. And
well, some are in good health. Some people are having a headache. Praising God for being alive. Internet and electricity challenges.
Especially the electricity bill, right?
Oh, yes.
All right. And the next question is, what would make that number, whatever number you had, what would make that number 1 higher? What is it that we can do, or what is it that can be done that could make that number 1 higher? I'm still trying to get my chat up and running.
Some rest.
Yes, we all need rest.
And
All
some
right.
anxiety for the new term.
I am very anxious myself. I'm not even too sure exactly how we are going to manage, but we, as I always say, we are teachers and we will manage. All right. So the next thing I want to talk about is how you're feeling. So every time I say how you're feeling during the session, what it means, what I'm really asking you is how comfortable you are with what you're learning. So because we can't have the mics open because of the numbers, whenever I stop and I say, how you feeling? I'm really asking you how comfortable you are you with what you're learning? So in the chat, if you're a little bit shaky, you don't think to get it, put 0. If you think you're okay, and I can move on, put 1. And if you think, my gosh, I have it, then you put a 2. All right, so that's how we're going to operate. So whenever I say how you're feeling, you put in your number. Everybody okay with that? All right.
All good. You're having 1s and 2s.
Okay. All right. So how we're going to operate today is that I am going to show you live how to do something, and then you're going to have your turn where you're going to take a try. So we're going to take it in baby steps. I'm not going to do a whole lot of things and then you try. We do one thing, you try. My turn, your turn, my turn, your turn. So that's how we'll be operating. Could you forgive me for 2 seconds? I really want to see in the chat and I am trying to figure out.
All right, while you're doing that, colleagues, if you have some friends who are in the waiting room, the room is reaching capacity and we are not going to be able to accommodate all the persons in the waiting room. I believe that JTC is trying to do something about running another session. So
they are running one. It's in our group chat. You'll see the information.
Great, because we have now reached capacity, so I can't admit anybody else right now.
Okay, so I do have the chat, so I'm good to go. Thank you. All right, so so today what my plan to cover is we're going to create a Google Classroom. We're going to add students. We're going to add student assignments and material. We're going to add announcements, and we're going to use Google Meet in Google Classroom. Now that's what I must cover. If we get through this in time, then we'll add on more frills. But for now, that's really this is the must cover. Because I feel once we've done that, then you will be on a firm footing that a lot of things you can learn by yourself. So we're going to try and cover that. Okay. All right. So what we're talking, this package is about G Suite. And if you're unsure what G Suite is, just like a living room suite that has the love seat and the sofa and the hassock and all the rest of that, G Suite is a collection of things that you can use. They can all stand by themselves, but the suite is a collection of tools that you can use. All right. So let us take a look. So for this training, the ones that we will be specifically looking at is Google Classroom, which I'm doing today, Google Forms, Google Docs, and Google Sheets. G Suite contains far more than this, but these are the ones that we are going to be looking at for the presentation. The Google Classroom will be done today. All right, so I want to take a big picture look. Hold on, let me stop some, sorry. All right, I just had to stop somebody from writing on the screen. All right, so I want to take a look, a big picture look at G Suite, because I think if you have a firm understanding of what the big picture is, and once we start to get into the nitty-gritty, then it will be much easier for you to understand. All right, so I've changed screen. Are you seeing a change in screen now? Yes.
Yes, we are.
Okay, so let's think about, I'm going to do some drawing. I'm not very good, but hopefully you will understand where we're going. So let us think about all the resources that we have as a teacher, all right? And if you think about us as teachers, we have so much stuff I mean, we have a lot of resources on our computer and on paper and so. So I want you to think about all the resources that you have, right? And the resources, think of it as a library, your library of resources. And we have all different kinds. We have, you know, tests, we have quizzes that we have had from over the years, and we have study sheets, and we have, you know, video links, and we have all kinds of things. We have a whole lot of material, and some of us have them all digital on our computer. And if our computer crashes, as we said, we suck salt through a wooden spoon because it is completely lost. So what I want you to think about, I want you to think about all those resources and think about this as Google Drive. So what you really need to do is to have all of this put in your Google Drive. So Google Drive is think of it as a big library, a big space that you can save all your files. And if your computer crashes, because it is in the cloud, you know, we talk about it being in the cloud, all you'll have to do is log on back to your Google account and everything is there sitting for you, right? So that's what Google Drive is. It's a big library for all your resources in the sky, all right? So are we good? Or everybody's okay? How are you feeling about that? Everybody all right? Okay, all right. So the next thing we want to talk about is what is Google Classroom. Now, Google Classroom is one of the features of G Suite. I want you to think about Google Classroom as consider it to be like a filing cabinet, right? And if you think about Google Classroom as a filing cabinet, then this is our Google Classroom. And so, oh, what has happened? This is our Google Classroom, okay? So here it is. A Google Classroom is the filing cabinet. Now the filing cabinet that you have is not going to have everything that's in your library, but some of these things you're going to move and put into here. And think of each drawer. Well, you're going to have to decide how you're going to set up your Google Classroom. As a primary school teacher, I set up one class per year. So this year I only had one class because I'm teaching the same students all the time. But if you're a secondary teacher, sorry, you may want to consider setting up several different classrooms for each class, right? Because you're going to assign things differently. But as a primary school teacher, you'll just have one Google Classroom. So once you have that Google Classroom set up, as I said, you could set up another one for another class, and you can have several of them going. Once you have your Google Classroom set up now, I want you to think about each drawer in that filing cabinet. So this would be math for me. I have all my math here, and I have language arts, I have science, and we have different drawers that we have each thing in, right? So here are all my resources, right? Some things are personal there. I don't put everything in the classroom. And I don't put everything there as I open the classroom. So let us say we start the year and the first thing is language arts. So I pull out this drawer. I pull out my filing cabinet because my students have access to my filing cabinet, right? So remember, students are going to come and go in the cabinet as they please. So I have to be careful what I put in there. And when I open the drawer now for science, what I'm really going to do is the first week, I'm going to put one folder in the science drawer, right? So I'm going to take this study sheet that I have there and I'm going to put there. And as the year goes on, I'm going to create material until my filing cabinet is full. Until my filing cabinet is full. And students will be able to come and see material, interact with the material whenever they need to. Everybody, how we feeling? How we feeling? Test, how we feeling?
Having a look.
2, 2, 2. All right, we're feeling okay. So once you understand the purpose and the value and what you're going to use Google Classroom for, then you'll better be able to plan and decide how you're going to use it, okay? All right, so that's the understanding. So Google Drive. So the things that you now are going to put into each drawer are these things here, which we will do further on in the week. So you're going to learn Google Docs. You're going to put one. You're going to use that to put for the students to access. You're going to use Google Sheets and put in there. You're going to use Google Forms. You're going to put them in there. So all of them are going to be put in this framework of Google Classroom for them to be able to access, okay? So Google Drive is the library, Google Classroom is the filing cabinet, and Google Word, Excel, most formats can go there. We'll be able to go into this cabinet, this filing cabinet for students to access. All right? All right, so let's continue on. So that's the big picture of what G Suite and Google Classroom is, okay? All right, so what is Google Classroom? I mean, we have an idea of what it is, but really what is Google Classroom? I remember we're gonna have a quiz on, I believe it's the 5th of August, so these are some of the things that, we want to pay attention to. So Google Classroom is a cloud-based learning management system. So Google Classroom does not sit on your computer. It's cloud-based. So in other words, if your computer crashes or your tablet crashes, it doesn't matter. All you're going to do is open up your Google account and everything will be there. So we don't have to worry about it. And it's a learning management system. Yes.
Sorry to interrupt you. For some persons, they're asking you to repeat. The audio is a little poor. It was a little inconsistent a minute ago. So if you could just repeat the last 2 points. Thank you.
Okay, so Google Classroom, so what I said was that you remember you're going to have an assessment. So sometimes some of these things we need to pay attention to, right? So hint, hint. So Google Classroom is a cloud-based learning management system. So it does not sit on your computer, on your hard drive, not sitting on your hard drive. So therefore, if your computer crashes, your tablet crashes, you don't have to worry because everything that you have saved in Google Classroom will still be there once you get on another device and log on, okay? Everybody okay? All right. So another thing we need to know about Google Classroom is that teachers can create online classroom for sharing learning materials, for downloading and viewing. So that's really what it is about. It is a way for students to share material with their students, okay? And these assignments that you put in Google Classrooms, you can use it to track students' progress, okay? All right? Students can access the material and submit their assignments online. So it is a way for students to go to the cabinet, pull out what they have to pull out on the day that has been assigned, do the work, and then put it back into the Google Classroom folder, and you will have access to it immediately and can mark it and return it to the students, okay? All right, yes, the PowerPoint will be made available to you. It's going to be made available to you in an hour and 40 minutes, all right, and you'll see how. All right, so remember, Google Classroom is like a filing cabinet, but especially if you're a secondary teacher, it's not just one cabinet you can have. You can have as many filing cabinets as you want, and you can, for the varying classes that you have. So it's not a problem, okay? Also, you can have a Google Classroom set up maybe for teachers to share material as well, if you want to go that route, okay? All right, so let's talk about what Google Classroom is not. Google Classroom is not a video conferencing tool. So Google Classroom, if you're thinking about Google Classroom being something like Zoom, it is not. Can you put a Zoom link into Google Classroom? Yes. Can you use it with Google Meet? Yes, but in and of itself, Google Classroom is not a video conferencing tool, okay? And also, Google Classroom is not a website that's preloaded with resources. So, you have some websites that they will come and you have lessons already designed, material already designed that you can pick on and use. This is not the situation with Google Classroom. Google Classroom, you will have to create the material or get it from somewhere else and put it there. I see somebody saying they're not hearing. Is that the case for everybody, or is most people hearing? All right. Don't worry about, I see somebody's asking me if I could go back 2 slides. I tell you within the 2 hours, you're gonna have access to this. I promise, 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 okay? All right, so here are 2 questions that are frequently asked about Google Classroom. Who can use Google Classroom? Now, Google Classroom can be set up as a school. A school can make a decision to set it up. And once it's set up as a school, if it's a school that is moving forward, you should use Google Suite for Education. Now, Google Suite for Education is a free tool that allows you to integrate between the teachers. Allows for a little bit more integration. It is not as easy to set up. If you have somebody who is a little bit more techie, you can get that done, because, so that is the way, for example, at my school is, but it is not necessary. You can also, as a teacher, set up your own Google Classroom without your school going ahead and doing it first. But what you must have is a Google account. You must have a Google account. Google is not going to allow you to come on your Google Classroom with Yahoo, right? These people are in business, right? So you must have a Google account. And if you have a Gmail account, you already have a Google account. All right, everybody's okay? How we feeling? 0, 1, 2, how we feeling?
Some people are hearing you. A few people are saying that the audio is chipping in and out. But a lot of 2s and 1s.
Lots of 2s and 1s. Okay. All right. All right. So, is there, another question is there an app for my phone or tablet? Yes, there is an app that you can download, and it is available for Apple, iOS, and Android, and for Chromebooks. My personal preference is, when I am preparing material, I prefer to prepare on a laptop, just because I find it easier to maneuver. And then I use my app on my phone just to do little things like announcements and so. If some people are more savvy using their tablets and phones, fine, but I find I prefer to prepare material on my laptop and then just monitor what's happening using my phone. Okay. All right. So we're okay. All right. So I'm going to show you now what my Google Classroom looks like. So I'm going to show you what a working Google Classroom looks like. This was my classroom last year. So it has the names of my students. So I would rather, I mean, I'm gonna show you in a second. Let me just get it up. It's loading up. Give it a sec. All right, so I'm going to show you what a completed Google Classroom looks like, so that you can know where you're going, what's your final objective, what you really want it to look like. I don't know why. Hold on a second. Let me just. Sorry, I don't know why it's taking so long. It's really taking a long time. Are you seeing it loading?
Seeing it now. Yes, we're seeing it now.
Okay. All right. So this is what, once you created your, I want you to see what a completed one looks like. So if you
Ms. Thompson, the sound just went.
you notice, I mean, I have no idea. Hold on a second. Am I back on?
Yes, we're hearing you now. Okay, we're hearing you, but it's chipping in and out.
All right, I'm going to turn my video off and hope. I'm going to turn my video off in hope that that will reduce this. I don't know what is going on with mine.
All right, we're back to seeing your video now. Ms. Thompson? Colleagues, we're working on the issue. I think part of the problem is very large numbers. Just give us a couple of minutes, please. Appreciate your cooperation. Thank you. Okay, I think she's just coming out so she can re-share her screen once again. So we really appreciate your patience, colleagues. How is everybody doing at the moment? Have you understood so far? So far, so good. Oh dear, there's a 0, but there are 2s and 1s, so that's something great. You'll soon be up to speed with it, don't worry. What has happened is that she's been bumped out, so we have to just let her back in. So give us a minute. This happens when the room gets too full. All right, just give us a minute here. Colleagues, this is what we call the joy of technology, yes? Someone was asking if you can go ahead and look around at the Google. If you have a Google account, I would certainly encourage you to do that in the meantime, just to have a look in your Google Drive and see what is available there. Just get familiar with it as Ms. Thompson tries to rejoin us. And as one of my colleagues has suggested, turning off your own cameras would be helpful also to reduce the burden on the system. So if you'd be so kind as to turn off your camera, that would be great. You'll notice I've turned mine off. It helps reduce the load on the system. So we're very grateful if you turned off your camera. Thank you so much. That's quick work. All right, let me have a look for her. I believe she's back in the waiting room. Okay, joining us now. Great. Carrie Ann Walker also got bumped off. All right, I'll have a look for her as well. Thank you. All right, here we go. All right, you said Carrie Ann. All right. All right, she's back in the room, everybody, so we should be resuming in a moment.
Okay, I apologize. I am back. I got bumped off.
That's okay. We're glad to have you back with us. I think we just have to not admit anyone else at this point.
I mean, and I'm here talking and not knowing that I am completely bumped off. All right, so
there you go.
So let's go again. All right, so you should now be seeing my Google Classroom. Is that so?
Yes.
Okay. So if we look, let me reduce. All right. So if we look, you're going to see that we have on the left-hand side, we're going to see where it has all topics. Now I have arranged these topics. These are the subject areas that I teach, and I will show you how to do that. And then we have up at the top what are tabs: stream, classwork, people, and grades. Okay, so I want to first take a look at people. Let me show you what that looks like. So people list all the people that you have included in your classroom. Now there are two types of people. Sorry, that's great. There are two types of people that you can admit. You can admit your students, and here I have 41 students here, my students that were logged on, that were in my class this year, and here are 41 students. And then I am the only teacher here. But you could also put other teachers in your classroom, and that would allow you to share work. And we can talk about how we can make heavy work light by adding teachers to your classroom. So here there are students and their teachers, okay? Now, over on the grades tab, so we're looking up at the top here, over on the grades tab, once we give assignments and students have submitted them, and you're going to know how to do that with Google Forms, the grades will automatically be generated. No, I'm not going to show you that because these are my actual students, and I would rather not have that come up on screen. All right, so the next thing, the next thing we have is what we call the classwork stream. And the classwork is how we arrange the work that we're giving to students. So if we scroll down, we'll see mathematics, language arts, vocabulary quizzes, social studies, word of the day, because I do word of the day to kind of help with vocabulary, reading comprehension, science. There is no limit to how many different categories you have, but before you start, just make a decision as to how you're going to design your classroom, okay? So these are the separate drawers that we have in the filing cabinet. So let's take a look, for example, at language arts. So each day when we were on COVID teaching, each day I would give students assign the work, okay? So here we go on the language arts, and this was posted on the 15th of June. Please don't pay attention to this, turned in and assigned. I'll have to show you how to fix that. So within each assignment, if you notice, I have 4 things here on this one assignment. So I have a Google Slides document, which was a PowerPoint that when I met them on Google Meets, I immediately gave them that as well, so they could refer back to the presentation that was done in the morning. Then we have a PDF with a list of adjectives because we were doing narrative writing and I thought they needed something to assist them. Then I also gave them a image of graphic organizer that we were using, so they had a copy of that. And then I also submitted a Google form. That was how they were going to submit their assignment, okay? So within this one little assignment, they had 4 pieces of document. So it's not just one thing. Here further down, you'll see that we have, I also use Edulastic. I would send work by Edulastic as well. So there you go. So each day, they would get different assignments. Now, the good thing with this is that if you notice, some of these are coming back from March, right? If you have a student who is absent, once you posted something for the day, it doesn't leave. It stays there unless you take it off. So you can, a student can always go back and do assignments in the back if there's a situation that they were not at school or they were not able to come into class, all right? So, and the same thing happens for math and all of these things. So there's all these assignments. How are we feeling? Everybody okay? I'm not even going to put up my chat to look at, because I think when I have too many things open, my internet kicks.
Yes, I think you should keep that down. I'll let you know.
So I'm keeping everything closed. I'm not overworking. So everybody's okay in understanding what
We're seeing ones and twos, so that's good.
Okay. All right. So the next thing we want that Google Classroom has is a stream. Now think about stream as your announcement. So every day I would put out an announcement and I would let them know what we were doing for today. So on June 18th, I said, good morning, chickadees, rise and shine. Class starts at 8. Here's the link to get in. We'll be doing science, bring this and whatever. So these are the assignments, the announcements that we would make every morning. And this is what would come up on this. Once the students logged on, this would be the first thing that they would see, okay? So I would put my announcements there. And here I put my link for my Zoom meeting, all right? On this left-hand part here, you're going to see upcoming when work is due. I don't have anything due because obviously class is out and we're on vacation, but once you have assigned work and you have a due date, the student and yourself will see a list of assignments and when they're due, okay? So this is, in essence, is what Google Classroom will look like once you have it up and working. Now, I don't want you to think, I mean, I had this working from March 16th, so there are a lot of things on it. I don't want you to think that this is going to happen overnight. You're just going to put one thing at a time and you will get there. So now that we have a clear picture of what it is, then we are going to start ourselves, okay? All right, so the first thing that we're going to do is to create a Google Classroom for yourself, okay? So the first thing we want to do is to sign into your Gmail account if you're not already signed in. If you do not have a Gmail, unfortunately, things look sticky right now, or if you can quickly sign up for a Gmail account if you're that, you know, ambidextrous. And then once you've signed into your Google account, I want you to go to classroom.google.com, all right? Once you do that, this is what it's going to look like. You're going to go to classroomgoogle.com, and this is what's going to come up if you have no class before. Then you're going to click the plus sign right here, and it's going to say join class or create class. And I want you to create a class, right? Participant, I want you to watch the process first, and then I will leave you a few minutes to work on it for yourself. So see if you understand everything that we're doing, and then you try it for yourself, okay? So we go to classroom.google.com, and with this little plus sign is going to come there. You're going to click it. You're going to say create class, and then this is going to come up if you do not have a G Suite account. You can read it, click that you have read it. I'm not going to waste time and go through it. You can read it, click it, and then continue. And then what will happen is going to ask you to create a class. Just create the class name, section, subject, click create, and bam, your class is ready, okay? So I'm going to give you a few minutes and let you do that. How are we feeling? Everybody thinks they can manage that? All right, let me show you live. Let me show you that live, all right? All right, so I am going to go to, so if you think you are okay, just move on and try and start one for yourself. Classroom.google.com.
Ms. Thompson, a number of persons are saying they have one. So
Oh, they
what
have
would
one
you
already.
recommend that they do?
Okay, if you have one, then just open your Google Classroom. Or tell you what, could you start a new one? You can start a new one. Just create a new one. So that would be your test and practice one, okay? So that because we're going to be practicing things, let's create a new. You can create as many classrooms as you like. So just create a new one. So I have these here already. I am going to go create. So I'm going to create a new class. Here it is. I have read and understood. And then I continue. And the name of my class is going to be test class. You can name it whatever. Section, subject, room. Those are not required. You can put them in. And then you create. Takes a minute or so, or maybe less when you're creating. So is there anyone, so, and then comes up my new class. There's my new class called test class. All right, is everybody okay with creating a class? Has anybody created a class?
Some persons who joined a little late feel a little lost. They were kicked off, so they've just been readmitted.
Okay, so what we're doing now is we're going to classroom.google.com. Let me put back up the instructions. Maybe that would be a little bit more helpful. All right, so here we go. Let's go back. So sign into your Gmail account, classroom.google.com. Then you're going to go to the right-hand side, click on the plus symbol, create a class, you complete the form. Right now, you only need the name, and then you wait less than a minute, and your classroom should be created. Should I take a chance and open this chat?
A number of persons have created theirs successfully, don't worry. I would keep safe. They're doing well.
Okay, can we move on? How are we feeling? How are we feeling? For those of you who are not ready to open, you are going to get this PowerPoint in a little while, and you can take your time and go through it, okay? All right, so we all have a classroom. Are we good?
We're at
all those who are working?
Yes, ma'am, proceed.
Oh, proceed, okay. All right. So we did that, we did all of that. Okay. So we also need to fix the settings on our Google Classroom. So I'm going to show you how to do that. Might as well you get that done early, early in the game, right? So we're going to go to the settings icon in the top right hand. I'm going to show you. Scroll through the options, make your adjustment based on your preference, and save. So let me show you. Right in the corner there, you're going to see that little wheel. That's your settings wheel, okay? You're going to click on it. Remember, we watch first and then we do. Once we've clicked on it, then you're going to see sections come up. It's not going to be in three like this. You're going to have to scroll down. So you're going to see class details, you're going to see general, and you're going to see grading, okay? Then you're just going to make your adjustments as you see fit, okay? All right, so let me show you in my test class. The test class that I just made, here it is. I'm going to go over to the settings. And I already have the class name. I can put a description. So for example, it's fourth form or you know, whatever you want to describe it so you know what class it is, the section, the room, the subject, if you'd like, if you teach more than one subject. Here we are going to see general. We have the class code, and I'll tell you what we're going to do with the class code. The stream is that section with the announcements. You have to decide now, are you going to allow students to put things up on that stream? So the options that you have is that students can post and comment, or they can only comment, or only teachers can post or comment. So you know your students, make a decision on how you want to set that up, right? For me, I usually have, I can post and they comment, but I don't allow them to post anything, right? Classwork on the stream, you show condensed notification. That just means that it's shrunk down a bit so it doesn't take up, they don't see everything all at once, so that it takes up less space, all right? So deleted items, grading, you want to set up how you want your grading category. No overall grade, or you want to set up your total points. That's how I have mine set, because I tell you the total points is 100 if I'm doing percentage, okay? All right, and once you've done that and you set it up, then you just click save. So go in and quickly, you can do this at any time. It doesn't have to be done now, but I just like to do it to get it out of the way. So take 30 seconds, 1 minute, and set up the settings of your Google Classroom, okay? How are we doing? Everybody's okay?
A couple of people are not keeping up, but a number are. I think the problem has been that those who got kicked off finding it hard to catch up. But we're just recommending that people keep up with where you are now and try and watch the early part of this presentation later.
Okay, and if you're not, for example, if you were not able to do settings, don't worry about it, leave that alone. Once we're doing something new, just move on to that and start there. So in other words, nothing is dependent on something else. You can all do them in any order that you want. So if you're not complete with changing the settings, that's fine. We're going to look on how to add students, so just start from there, okay? And then you can go back and make the adjustment. So it's not that not that problematic. We can work through. So how is everybody with their settings? How are we getting on? How are we feeling?
Persons are saying they're not seeing the grading section.
Okay, you have to scroll down some more. All right, so when you go down, class details first, then general, then you scroll down and you'll see grading. You can even add grade categories, all right? When you get really fancy, all right? And then you just save. All right, are we basically okay? How are we feeling? Can we move on?
The settings, if we could just remind colleagues where to find the settings.
Okay, the settings, we're going to find the settings, hold on. Settings is right here. So once you have your Google Classroom up, this little wheel on the right-hand side, you see it? This little wheel on the right-hand side, you click it and the settings will come up. Okay, all right, so all settings are good, okay. The next thing we want to look at is adding students. All right, let's add students. So there are two ways that we can add students. One way is for you to add students by you're adding the student's email manually onto the system, okay? So for example, you're going to click on the people tab, and again, I'm going to show you where that is. You're going to click invite students, which is this little icon here, and then you're going to insert the student's email. Once you've inserted the student's email, an invitation is going to come up in their email, and then they're going to be let in by clicking on that, okay? So let me show you. So here it is. We're going to look click on the tab where people is. Then you're going to go down to where students, and you're going to add a student, and then you're going to type in the email, okay? Typing the name is when you're on G Suite Education, when you have the whole thing integrated. So here you'd have to type the entire email address, okay? That's how that works. Now, that's easy enough. The second method is really the method that I use, and especially if you have a lot of students, which is really a little bit more efficient to use. So let me show you that as well. And then I am now going to allow you to join my classroom, okay? So method 2 is using a class code. So you're going to get the class code and you're going to distribute it to the students. And then students are going to use that class code to join the class, okay? So I'm going to do that for you. So here's my class and your class code, this is where it is located. Right on that banner, and this banner can be changed. Here you can upload a photo, you can do all the fancy things, but if we have time, I'll show you how to do that. But I just want to get the basic important things done first. So here you have your class code. So you will write down that class code or screenshot it and send it to your students, all right? Once they have that code, then, this is the code for my classroom. Please write this down. Write down this code, GMQ4RC7. GMQ4RC7, okay? I'm going to show it again. It's on another slide. So what you want to do now is go back to Google, classroom.google.com, and where we had that little button in the top right-hand corner, we clicked it and we said join or create. What I want you to do now is to join. So I want you to join my classroom. Everybody okay? You understand what I'm saying? So go to classroom.google.com and then join my classroom. All right? So
some persons are not seeing your screen, apparently. Screens are frozen.
all right, just try refreshing your screen and see if that helps. All right, I'm going to change to the classroom that I've invited you in. So the classroom that I've invited you in is not going to say test classroom because that is a personal account. There are only 250 of you that I could let in on that account. So I have a second account that can allow 1,000 of you in. So I'm going to, and at this point it has no students. So if I have anybody now, no, that's not the one I want. Has anybody been able to get in?
Some people have said they've joined. Yes, they're in.
Okay, let's. All right, so I have 145 people who have joined. All right, so now this class that had nobody this morning now has 145 students, okay? So these are the students who have just joined. So you notice that giving out the class code is really, really quick to get your students on, okay? So there you all are. I am happy to see you, very good. So we're doing well.
Could you show your code again, please?
Okay, sure, I will. There's the code. So go to classroom.google.com and there's the code. Everybody okay?
Some are in, some are not.
All right, let's give some others a few. Now, if you're in, you're going to notice, if you go on the classwork, you're going to notice there's nothing there. You're going to notice there are no announcements. This is an empty classroom, all right? I have done nothing on it. I just wanted you to get in, okay? I am going to put up the presentation here. So if you get in, this is where I'm going to rest the presentation, okay? So this is where you can find it, okay? But now there's nothing there, but this is where you're going to find the presentation, okay? And I'll show you how to do that. All right, so is everybody comfortable? How are we feeling? What's our temperature? Are we 0, 1s, or 2s? Are we good, Mr.?
I am waiting for some responses. Some people are not seeing your screen, but I am seeing it fine. Not having any more responses just yet. All right, I see several have now said they've joined, and I'm seeing some ones and twos.
Okay, so we're good, we're good. All right, so this is what, so if you notice, this is really an easy way for us to get students in the classroom. Now, I'm going to tell you some of the pitfalls of doing it this way. This pitfall may be because I teach at the primary level. So I have a student who has come in and they're in. Then they have forgotten their email address. They start a new email address and they join again as somebody else. And they join 2 and 3 and 4 times. So I find that if I have a class of 36, sometimes I get up in the morning and I have 50 students because they keep using the code to join. So this is one of the drawbacks on it. Another thing is that somebody who you may not want to be in your class, once they get a hold of the code, they can get it. Now, this is my way around it. I don't know if that is how it is to be done, but this is how I do it. I'm going to show you in a second. All right, so when you go up to settings, it's up at settings. There's a class code here. Remember we showed you the class code? I can reset the class code. So if you reset the class code, once you have everybody in and you reset the class code that you gave them will no longer work, but those who are in will stay in. So this is the trick that I use. I get everybody in and then I change the class code, okay? To keep out those who shouldn't be coming in, all right? So that's basically it. All right, so let's move on. So this is the 2 ways of getting students in your classroom. All right, so let's talk about now creating a topic. Now, although it says creating a topic, what I want you to think about is creating how your classroom is going to be organized. So for me, I have it organized by subject. So because all the students come in and they will look at math, language arts, spelling, whatever it is. But secondary teachers who teach one subject, that may not be how you want to arrange. You may want to arrange it by unit or some other way. I've never taught secondary, but I suppose you could arrange it by unit. So make a decision on how you want to arrange. So you're going to go to the classwork tab. You're going to click create. Then you're going to click topic and enter the topic. And let me just stop the annotating here. All right. And then you're going to decide how you're going to do it. So here we go. You're going to click, you're going to go to classwork. Here's classwork. Click create. Once you click create, you're going to go down to topic. Click on topic. And then it's just going to say add topic, put the name of the topic or those little sections. Think of it as sections that you want. Click add and Bob's your uncle, you're good to go. All right. So let me do this. In my classroom.
Ms. Thompson, could you clarify if students have to have a Google account?
Yes, students have to have a Google account. The only way they do not have a Google account is if you're going with G Suite. And so for example, because we have G Suite education, if you set up your students that, so newprovidenceprimary.com is the domain, and if each student had a newprovidenceprimary.com email, then that would be allowed. If not, if you're just doing it from a personal, every student having their own personal email, it would have to be a Gmail account, yes.
Some are not able to log in now with the code. Is the classroom locked?
Unless we are at maximum of 1,000, let me check. If we
no,
are,
I mean your classroom.
My
Yeah.
classroom, the maximum is 1,000 students. So if
Okay.
I'm at a maximum, then they can't get on, unfortunately. Okay. Let me see. All right, class settings. Let me see how many students I have. Let's see. I'm going to tell you why you can't get on. I'm checking. But the internet is a turtleback. No, I only have 578 students, so it should work. The
Okay,
code
I think
should still
perhaps
be
not
working.
realizing that the code is case sensitive.
All right, so continue to try because I only have 578 students and I can hold 1,000 students. So you should still be able to get on. All right, so now we're going to do the topic, right? So as I said, click classwork. So come out of my classroom because you won't be able to do this in my classroom. Come out of my classroom and go into your classroom, okay? Go into your classroom, click on classwork because you're not allowed to put topics and do all those kinds of things in mine. Click classwork, click create, go down to topic, and the first topic I'm going to have is Google Classroom because that's where I'm going to put, oh, my spelling is terrible. Google Classroom, and then I add. So as you'll notice in the topics, there comes a section called Google Classroom. So I'm going to add several of them, and you can add several of them for Google Forms. Decide what your topics are.
Could you repost your code?
Okay, sure. Let me get that up. Are you seeing it?
Yes.
So that's the code. Go to classroom.google.com, GMQ4RC7. Everybody has it? Can I move?
Yes, I think so. I put it in the chat.
Thank you. All right, so here I have created, so this is my JTC G Suite training. So you're going to be doing Google Sheets, Google Forms, Google Classrooms. Which other one are we doing? Google Docs. Google Docs. So I have added these 4 topics, okay? You can put as many as you like, not a problem. All right, is everybody okay with this? Are we okay? How are we feeling?
I think we just need to remind people that they will have the opportunity to watch the start of this presentation because you can't keep starting over. We're getting 1s and 2s.
Okay. So create, just make a decision how you're going to organize your Google Classroom and set up your topic. And remember, you can always change course, okay? All right, something I want to show you that I really should have shown you in the beginning. All right, so what I didn't show you was these things right here. And the first one I want to look at is class drive folder. Now, once you set up a Google Classroom, automatically in your Google Drive, remember, once you have a Google account, you have a Google Drive account. And once you have a Google Drive account and you set up a Google Classroom, there is going to be a folder in your Google Drive called Classroom. So here it is, it's coming up. Waiting on that to come up. My suggestion to you would be to move things from off of, not move, that move necessarily, but copy things into your Google Drive. This is your safeguard in case your computer crashes. My computer crashed 2 weeks ago. All I did was up and running on a new computer, okay? I didn't have to panic. So if you save things in your Google Drive, all will be well. I'm trying to show you what my Google Drive looks like. This one is going to be empty. Let me show you, because I just started it for this assignment. But let me show you. I'm going to show you what my Google Drive looks like from my other classroom. So this is my Google Drive from my classroom this year. And if you notice, I have things sorted in folders. You're going to have to do that. And let us look at, for example, in the math folder, oh, you're offline. Why am I offline? If we click on the math folder, if it will open today.
I think several people are having issues, so.
I don't know if it's because Zoom is so full, but I find my internet is really, really slow.
I think that's part of the problem.
So if you look in my math folder, you're going to see all of the documents that I used this term. Okay, so just to show you, there are videos, there are Google Forms, Google Sheets, there are PowerPoints, there are lots of different things, right? So all of this is saved in my Google Drive for my classroom. If you look, my Drive classroom, this classroom here, and math. This is math alone, okay? So when I do that, in case anything happens as it did 2 weeks ago, I just come back and load everything on. It's really not problematic, all right? So now I'm going to show you how to, okay, so this is my Drive, okay? So now I'm going to show you how to put on assignments. I really apologize for this thing moving so slow. It's driving me crazy. All right, so let me show you on this one. So we created topics, we did that, and we seem to be all right. So now we're going to create assignments. Now, when we're creating assignments, where we're going to go is to the Classroom tab, create assignments, enter the title and instruction, and here's what you're going to do. Remember, I've done this slide so that once you are doing it on your own, you have some instructions, okay? So this is really for you when I'm gone. You will know how to do it. So let's take a look. So you're going to click on Classroom. Oh, why am I not? All right, so we're going to click on Classroom there. And then we're going to go to Create. And once we go to Create, then we're going to Assignment. So these are the options we have. We have assignment, quiz assignment, question, material, reuse, and we have topic. I'm hoping that I can get through most of that. But the most important one would really be an assignment. And then you're just going to put the title of the assignment. Creative writing, whatever it is. Pyramid of a compound shape, whatever it is. Title of the assignment, and give some instructions as well. And then you're going to click add or create. Now this part here is just telling you, this is just a label for the assignment. Now we're going to use add when you already have the assignment in a document somewhere on your computer. And you're going to use create when you haven't created the assignment yet, you're going to create it now. So for example, on the add, you're going to add if you have the document there already, and you're going to take the document either from Google Drive, you're going to link to a document, maybe link to the document, you're going to upload a file, you're going to link to a YouTube. So if you know what you're doing already, you have it prepared, then you're going to click add. If you do not have that assignment prepared, but you're about to prepare it, then you're going to click create, okay? And you're going to decide what are you going to create. Am I going to create a Google Doc, a Google slide, a Google Sheet, a drawing, or a form? So I'm not going to show you how to create these things. That will be done Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday. But at least now, after you've created it, you will know how to get it on, okay? All right. Then you are going to assign. Now this assign is on the side of the page, and who is it for? So if you have several classrooms, the options will come up of all your classrooms. Do you want it to go to all your students, or are you going to select some students? Is the assignment going to be marked out of 100, out of 50, out of 20? Is there a due date? And where do you want it? Which topic do you want it in? Is it in Unit 1? Is it in Math? Is it in Language Arts? And if you need to add a rubric, you cannot check plagiarism. I don't think it's on the basic account, but I'll check and let you know tomorrow. All right. Once you've done that, assign the total points, enter due date, select the topic, and then you save, and all will be well. Okay. All right. So what I want you to do now is go and try it for yourself. All right. Let me get that up and running. One I want. I have to be moving back and forth because I have several different accounts that we're using. So please try it for yourself and try and create an assignment. I'm going to show you live first. Any questions, Mr.?
A couple of people feeling a little lost.
Yeah, don't worry. And if you don't worry, the thing about this thing, if you click the wrong thing, it's not going to break. So don't worry yourself. If you just click the wrong thing, then you just back out and try again. Don't be too afraid of it. All will be well. I'm sorry this thing is taking
Some persons are not seeing the screen share, but I'm not sure why that is, because I'm seeing your screen fine.
All right, I'm gonna put the options up while my thing is loaded. While this is loading up.
Well, one of your students has just created an assignment. Well done.
Very good. It's you're gonna be so good at it. You wonder why you even worried. All right. All right. I'm not even gonna go here anymore. All right. I'm sorry it's taking so long. It's taking forever to load. It is really, really slow. Please forgive me. But some of you could start creating. It doesn't matter what you attach. If you're adding, just click add and click file, find something on your computer. It's going to tell you, just look for something and just add anything. It really, it's not what you add at this point. It's just the fact that you can add. Is there anybody else? Do we have one student adding, or as soon as you added, let us know in the chat so we know that we are making progress.
I think a couple have created an assignment. Someone is asking about the grade category.
The grades?
The grade
all right,
category.
All right, nothing will come up in the grade as yet until you have students and that you have assigned them work and you have graded the work. Then the grades will come up. So the grade category is, it's like your grade book. All right.
A number of people have successfully created an assignment.
Very good. All right. So here we go. Let me show you. So classwork, it's finally up. So classwork, create. All right, and I'm going to create an assignment. And the title of this is study. I'm just going to put Google Classroom Notes. And my assignment is that I want you to read through and make your notes. All right, and I'm going to add, because I've already done what I wanted, and I'm going to go to my Google Drive. And here in my Google Drive, the only thing that I have in my Google Drive for this classroom is this presentation. So I'm going to link this. Here is the presentation. There it is. And I'm going to select it. Insert. And there is the presentation, okay? So what else I need to do here? If you look across, you're going to see students can view file. The only thing I want you to be able to do with this is to view it. There are other instances where I'm going to give you, I will have to make a copy for you because you are going to need your own individual copy to type on it or to make adjustments to it for you to send it back. But right now, this is a read only. I only want you to look at it. So I am just going to say students can view. I don't want you to edit anything. So that's what you have to look at to make a decision. Over here now, I'm going to assign it, right? How many points do I want to assign? Is there a due date? Yes, there's a due date. I want this done by tomorrow. I'm going to say I want it done by tomorrow, and I'm going to type in, I want it done by midnight, okay? So we type in a due date, all right? And a due time, the topic, I want it in the section for Google Classroom. I'm going to put it there, and I want all my students, okay? I want all my students. I could have selected specific students or specific groups, but I want all my students. Now here, we can either assign or we can schedule, okay? I can, if you really are organized, you can on the weekend schedule all the work and say what time you want that assignment to go up. What's the day and what's the time that you want it to go up, right? So here I can schedule it. If I haven't finished creating, I can save it as a draft or I can assign. So I'm going, once you assign it, it appears immediately. So I'm going to assign it. And if you notice now in Google Classroom, in that topic section, there is the Google Classroom notes. Okay, everybody okay? Are we feeling okay?
And a lot of people are assigning their work and they're setting due dates and so forth.
Okay, very good, very good. All right, so that's one type of assignment, that you have a document and you're giving it to the students and you're just giving it straight. Now, I want you to understand that, remember when I showed you my classroom, you can add several documents in the one assignment. So you can add a form, you can add several documents in that cluster. And then when you give the instruction now, you can say, do that first, then that, then that. I mean, you really can get creative, okay? All right, so let's also look, because time is going to run out really, really quickly. Let us look at assigning something else. There's a quiz assignment. Now, when you assign a quiz assignment, it means that you're expecting the students to do a form of quiz, which would be Google Forms, and submit, and that's something that is going to be graded. Now, tomorrow you'll see how to do that. But once you learn how to do the Google form, you will have the Google form, you will save it, and this is how you will then put it in your classroom. Okay. I wanted to show you also that you don't necessarily have to put a document, oh, let me back up a bit. Let me back up a bit. So let us say I put this there and then I decide that I want to add something to it. I can always go back and edit. The same assignment that I've already assigned, I can go back and edit, okay? So I've decided that the presentation alone is not enough for you. I want to send you a YouTube video as well for you to watch, okay? So here it is, YouTube, and I am going to search for, please know what the video is beforehand. I am going to search for the YouTube video, and I know what the YouTube video is called because I did that already. But if you haven't found the video, you can go and find the video. We're gonna go and search. And unfortunately, here it is. This is the video I want because I've looked through them and I said, yes, this is the one. No, this is not the one. And I go and I would have seen which one I wanted to submit. So let us pretend this is the one. Okay, I'm going to pretend. And then I just add it. Okay. So now I have a YouTube video also added to my assignment. Okay. You can continue and add as many different things as you want. Okay. And then I will click save. And that now comes up on the assignment. Everybody okay? How we feeling?
Some persons are not seeing your screen. Not sure why that is.
Could you ask, all right, could you try refreshing, you know, that little circle right here? Refresh your screen coming up. Well, I don't suggest you come out because if you come out, you might not be able to get back in because we have 1,000 people in the room. But for the most part, are we feeling okay? Are we feeling a little better? How are we feeling? 0, 1, or 2?
There are a few zeros, but I'm seeing ones and twos.
All right, so what you would do now is you can then decide lots of ways for you to create assignments. As I said, you can attach as an assignment all the Google types of documents, Google Doc, Google Sheets, Google Drawings, any of those Googles in the Google Suite. But you are not limited to that. You can attach PDFs, you can attach Microsoft Word documents, Excel sheets, you can attach anything for your students to use, okay? What you're going to, when you get a little bit more advanced with this thing, once you attach them, then you're going to decide if you want them to be able to mark on it. So, for example, I will attach an assignment. I'm afraid to go back and show you because I really, it takes so long with internet. But let us say, for example, I want you to write a paragraph. I will prepare a Google Doc that has space for the students to write on. So I write the question at the top and I leave space for them to write. When I am assigning it, I don't say students shall view. I will say students can edit, and I'm to make a copy for every student. So every student will have their own copy that they're going to turn in and submit, okay? Now, remember, the time that we have is really only enough time to show you really the basic things that Google Classroom can do. If you understand that, YouTube University will let you fly. You can learn so many things after that once you understand how it works. So once you have a firm footing here, then just go on YouTube. What I will do tomorrow in the day before we meet again for you to do Google Form, I will load up some videos and so that I think are very good videos. I will load them up on the Google Classroom. So you can come back to this class to collect some information from here. All right? Everybody's okay? All right, let me go back. Let me go back because I want to leave like 5 minutes, 10 minutes to answer questions. All right, so where are we? Let's see. So we did all of that. All right, so the next thing I want to talk about is Google Meet. Now, Google Meet, if you are not familiar with Google Meet is the Google version of Zoom. It's a Google version of Zoom. It is not, I will tell you straight up, it does not have the bells and whistles that Zoom has, but it connects directly into your Google Classroom. And I find it's not so, it doesn't suck your bandwidth as much as Zoom. So if you're just meeting with a few students and you don't need all the bells and whistles, then you can use Google Meets. Things that it will not do for you right now. You're not able to mute and unmute the participants. They don't have a raise hand feature, just little things like this. But in terms of sitting and being able to see your students, especially if you have 25 students, it is absolutely adequate. It is what I use the entire time. And I find that it doesn't suck your bandwidth like Zoom. All right, so let's talk about how we're going to do Zoom. Sorry, not Zoom, Google Meet. So you're going to go to classwork, create assignment, and you're going to do all of that. So remember, you're going to use this to go through. All right, no, sorry, I'm going to fix that. All right, so let's go back to the classroom, my classroom, so we can see how we're going to do it. All right, if you notice here, there is a Google Meet right here, right? Once you click on Google Meet, I wonder if I can get Zoom and Meet to work at the same time.
That sounds a little risky.
Yeah, I'm going to take a try. If I get kicked out, I'll come back in. But this is what Google Meet. It looks just like Google Classroom. You're going to get ready. You're going to be able to join. Let's take a chance at it. You know what? Let's not. I'm a bit afraid. I'm a bit afraid because it's taking so long to load. But this is how you're going to do it. The Google Meet icon, once we started in March, it wasn't there. You actually had to put a link in every day. But now it is embedded in your Google Classroom. So it makes life much easier. Let me go back, sorry. Oh, sorry, I just have too many accounts having to.
Someone is asking if teachers will have full access to the G Suite tools if they have a private account and not a school account.
Yes, you have access to all the G Suite. All that I know of, you'll not be able to do is integrate it as a school. So everybody will be a standalone unless you allow a teacher into your classroom. So that's the only difference. So that's really the only difference. And the students will not have a domain name, for example, nicole@newprovidenceprimary.com. But work it standalone. It's the quickest and easiest way. It's fine. It's perfectly fine. All right. While we wait, if there are any other questions.
A couple of persons saying they're not seeing the Google Meet icon on their screen.
Okay. Let me check why. Let me see. Could you go into set? I'll go. Let me see if there's in settings. If you have, is there? Let me ask. Does everybody see the Google Meet? Tell me if you're seeing yes or no. The Google Meet. The Google Meet logo. That little tab. Or is it a G Suite, something that is in the Google Suite Education? Because that's what I am using. So I'm not sure if it is specific. So please, could you answer? Could you go and look and let me know if you are seeing, when you click classwork, that's where you're to find it. Once you click classwork, here it is right here. Are you all seeing this? Google Meet. Just says Meet. No, yes.
Not seeing any responses yet.
Under the classroom. And everybody, could you please check if you're seeing it? All right, I am going to put it in my announcements. Let me check if it's in settings. Because it comes up automatically in my settings. Okay. Go back and check in your settings. If you have it there.
All right, some are seeing it and some have not found it.
It's on the classroom, under the classroom tab. Okay, so I am not going to click on it because I do not want to get kicked off. But once you open it, it's going to tell you open to join, and then they're going to say there's going to be a part of it that says copy link, and you can copy the link and put it in the announcements. Remember, so we're going to talk a little bit about announcements. So let us say we have the stream. Here's the stream. Remember, we have that announcement section. Every time you put an assignment, an announcement will automatically come up. You don't have to do anything. That comes up automatically. So if you look at mine, remember I posted this new assignment, and it comes up in the stream. There it is in the stream. What also comes up is the due date. The due on Wednesday is that Google Classroom assignment, okay? Those come up automatically. You have nothing to do. So I have 59 class comments. Okay, so here I can see, because I've allowed my students to comment, I have seen all the comments that you've made. Here you go. There you go. So you can have conversations with your students this way, okay? Very nice. Thank you for 57 comments, all right? All right, so, but the stream, you can add, along with it automatically bringing up assignments, you can add your own comments, okay? Just by clicking share something with your class, and I want to share it with all students, or I could share it with individual students, all right? Share with all students, and I can type something, and I can also link a document with it, all right? So share with my students. Good morning, class. This is the one that once I've done this once, and my class, the amount of comments for this. This is the kind of announcement, I don't know about your students, but this is the kind of announcements that they like. No class today, all right? And you can post whatever announcement you have, all right? How are we feeling? Everybody all right? Are we feeling okay?
Some are finding it in the apps, but others are still not seeing it.
In the apps.
So they're saying.
Okay, here's the runaround. I don't know why it's not showing up. You can open it in the app, create a class, create a meeting, copy the information, and put it in the stream. So you can just say to students, meet me, here is the link, meet me at 8 o'clock. So that's a way around it. I'm not too sure why you're not seeing it, okay? So yes, you can go through the apps, go to Google Meet, start your class. There's a copy meeting information, put that in the stream, and students will link it and it will carry them there directly. So that's the way to get around, okay? All right, so here is the stream, and you have your announcement. There are a lot, we're winding down now, but there are a lot of other things that Google Classroom can do. Please attend the university. I am going to put in the, let me show you. if you're registered in my class, in the Google Classroom section, I am going to put up a lot of videos that I can find to see the ones that I think are more helpful, and I will put some links up that you can go and look, okay? That will help you. But once you understand how it works, all will be well. Now we're a few minutes away, and I wanted to give some time for any questions. Are there any, does anybody have any questions that you're really in a bad way and you wanted me to clarify anything? Any questions? All right, here's what we're going to do. I think the easiest way to do this, Ms. Stewart, would be to clear hands, have participants raise their hand, and then you unmute them, and then I'll answer, because I can't see the chat.
Unfortunately, the internet is giving me a little bit of trouble as well. So
Okay.
I am going to attempt to do so, but it's hitching every now and then, which is why I haven't really been able to pay attention to hands raised. I can monitor the chat, but I'm really having difficulty with seeing the participants.
Please forgive us. It's really, really difficult when you have 980 odd people. It really is pushing our resources to the edge. It's really
not allowing me to do anything here.
All right. Are we going to take the chance and unmute everybody?
I am not able to do anything, so unless you're able to do it right now.
All right, let me try. Oh, it's not even allowing me.
No, it's really frozen up. I think it's just overwhelmed with the numbers of persons.
All right, let me, I've taken my screen off, so I am going to, all right, let me,
I think the best bet is for people to try and type their question in the chat, and I'll read it out to you.
All right, because I've taken my screen down, I'm going to see the chat as well.
Okay.
I'm going to see if I can follow. So if there are any questions, I am sorry, but we're trying to unmute, but that doesn't seem to be working out on our end. I don't know why. It doesn't want us to hear you. All right, please resend the code. All right, let me do that. All right, the code, all right, I'm going to say the code in, I don't want to share my screen again. I'm going to read the code. So let's go, have your pens down. I'm going to read the code now. GMQ4RC7. GMQ4RC7. One more time. GMQ4RC7. So that is the code to get into my classroom. Okay. Not seeing Google Meet in your classroom? Okay. I don't know why that is. I think you should probably go to the settings and see if it's turned on. If not, you can go to Google Meet directly from the app. And the app you're going to find on the right-hand side, you know those 6 little Google dots? Click on that and you're going to see a whole lot of apps and you will see Google Meets there. Once you open the meeting, it is going to allow you to copy the URL, and then you can then copy it and get around that. What I will do is I will research why you are not able to do it, and I will put, if I find the answer, I will put the answer in the Google Classroom as well. All right, so I'm going to start writing down some questions if I don't know the answer, and tomorrow I will research it for you and let you know. Any other questions? How are we feeling?
I just want to apologize for those who are raising their hand. My Zoom has frozen at a particular point, so I cannot acknowledge who it is. So it really is much easier if you could just use the chat, please, colleagues.
I can't, I am, mine is absolutely frozen as well. I can't even look down on the chat anymore. And I'm afraid if I touch it one more time, I'm going to get kicked out. We're at 992 participants. The maximum is 1,000. So we are really on the edge. And this is part of the problem. Does Google Classroom grade work automatically? All right. Remember we spoke about, if you were in the beginning, we know we spoke about Google Classroom versus other apps. Now, Google Classroom itself is just the filing cabinet. Remember we spoke about that? So Google Classroom is really not what's going to grade anything. It's not going to test any student. What you will use to do that is Google Forms. So you're going to create a Google form, put it in the Google Classroom, and Google Forms will allow, because Google Forms will allow you to grade the multiple choice items, and that will be done automatically once you set it up properly. So make sure you come back tomorrow, because that's what we're going to be working on Google Forms. And once you know how to do that, then it not only will it grade it automatically, but it will also give you some analysis on how well or not so well your students did, right? So that's the answer to that question about grading automatically. Any other questions?
All right, sadly, a couple of persons have said they're lost, but I think you just need to reassure them that, as you mentioned earlier, YouTube has many wonderful training videos as well as this presentation, which will be shared later.
All right. Yeah, and I'm going to try and be a little helpful. And if you log on into my Google Classroom here, I am going to try and post up some of the better videos for you. I'm going to do that in the morning. So hopefully, if you come back and look, there should be some there for you to use. All right. But trust me, once you have the basic understanding, and you can't break Google Classroom. It's not going to break. So if you press the wrong thing, just, you know, delete, redo. I mean, everything will be all right. The question about when will the presentation be available? The presentation is available to you, right? Right now, it's in the Google Classroom. Once you go there, it's there for you to access. So it is already posted there. So those who are already in the classroom, it is there already for you to take a look at. Remember, I put it up? So that's the best way for you to get it. It will be sent out by JTC. I can't, because I'm not the person who will be doing it. I cannot tell you exactly. Hence the reason why I did this, so that you will have access to it immediately.
I'm seeing hands raised by Winifred Taylor and Shereen Riley. Could you type your question in the chat for us, please? We're unable to unmute you at this time.
I don't know. Why is it giving us such a hard time?
I don't know. It's very unusual today. But it's completely locked up.
Yeah, I am trying, and it's not allowing at all. It's not.
One of our colleagues mentioning about the overload. Yes, we actually had, there's even more than this. There is another session running concurrently with this one. So the load is heavy on both.
How do I share the Google, how do I share the Google Meet link? The link is generated and copied, but how do I share it with students? Okay, so once you copy the link, where I usually put it is in the stream. So you're going to go up on the top tab that says stream, and you make it as an announcement. So morning students, here's the link to our Google Meet. We will meet at 8 o'clock. And you just paste it in as a link, and it comes up as a hyperlink. So they're not even going to have to copy out the link itself in terms of writing it down and copying. They'll just be able to click on it, and it will take them directly there. So that's the best way to do it. Good evening. I hope the lesson will be made available to the participants. The PowerPoint is already made available to you. It is on the Google Classroom that I created, and I sent out the code. It is there already sitting there waiting on you. Unfortunately, when I do get access to the recording of this, I will put that there as well. But as I am not the person who receives the recording, so I'll have to wait till I get it. But as soon as I get it, I will also post it there for you to look back. Please remember to send a PowerPoint. I'm not sending it. It is already in Google Classroom. All right. Since you are a student, you have to click on how can I get into your class? You'll have to go to classroom.google.com. Let me see if I post up. Let me see if I can put up that. Let me put up that page again. Let me see if I put that up. All right, here's how you're going to get into that Google Classroom. So you're going to go to classroom.google.com and you're going to click on a little plus sign to the right-hand side, and you're going to click join, not create, join. And you're going to join with that class code that I'm showing you there. So that's how you're going to get into the Google Classroom. So everybody write that down so that you can, because once I'm done, that's the way you're going to get the presentation. All right, so basically that's it. If there are no more questions.
I'm not seeing any other questions here. Just persons expressing frustration that they kept getting kicked off, which we do apologize for.
It's really been very rough today. It's been rough going with we're on the edge with the resources. I got kicked out. I can hardly move. We can't unmute anybody. I'm not too sure why. It's really crazy. So if there, let me give you one other thing. Let me share my email address. My email address. I'm gonna bring that up now. All right, here's my email address coming up. All right, mathmongoose@gmail.com. Easy to remember. That is my email address, okay. mathmongoose@gmail.com. So if you want to send me an email, that is how you will find it. All right, I'm hearing something that means somebody's unmuted.
Not seeing who that is.
Yes, the mics are now open.
Oh, wonderful, wonderful.
Oh, please repeat your email address.
mathmongoose@gmail.com.
mathmongoose@gmail.com.
Okay,
now
thank you.
Able to unmute me.
Type it in the chat, please.
Now,
this will create a lot of problems.
Everybody, please mute their mic. Mute their mic. Everybody, please mute their mics.
I'm working at muting everyone, but it's hung up.
We're having a lot of problems getting this to work the way we planned it. So we need participants to mute their mics because we're not even able to mute everybody again. All right. So basically that's it. Basically, that's it. I'm not seeing any more questions in the chat, and I know many of you, it is now 7 minutes to 7, and it's time for dinner. So I'm not seeing any other questions.
No, I think we have to call it a day with this now. Ms. Thompson?
Hallelujah.
Ms. Thompson, are we calling it a day?
All right, so everybody will see you tomorrow. We apologize for not being able to really take your question, but things have just not, we've been trying, but it's not working on our end, it's freezing. So we will see you tomorrow for Google Forms, which is really important that you learn how to do that, okay? Is there a cost to G Suite? No, there is no cost to G Suite. All right, so we'll see you tomorrow. So we're going to close the meeting off. Anything, you just send me an email. All right, Ms. Jordan, we're going to lock off.
I'm gonna do my best, but as I said, it's not responding to me. Are you hearing me?
I am hearing.
Okay, yeah, the screen is pretty much frozen, so I'm not sure if you're able to end the meeting. Let me try. All right, it's just come up. All right, colleagues, thank you for your patience, and hopefully we will see you tomorrow, all being well. Have a blessed evening.
All right, bye, everybody.